Okay, let's jump right into this explainer and unpack a truly incredible and honestly sometimes a little challenging personality theme known as focus. You know when you watch a master craftsman just totally absorbed in their work, or maybe an elite athlete right before the starting gun goes off? That right there, that's the sheer power of ultimate concentration. Today, we're taking a deep dive into our source material to really understand not just what it means to concentrate, but what it means to have focus as a foundational, hardwired psychological trait. We're going to see exactly how it drives success and how, if it's left unchecked, it can create some pretty unexpected hurdles.
True to the nature of our topic today, we're going to be highly structured and goal-oriented here. So here's our roadmap. We'll be defining the focus theme, looking at the superpower of focus, navigating the blind spots, creating the right environment, and finally checking out theme contrasts in action. We're going to look at the core psychology of all this together. The goal here is to discover how it works, activate its potential, and really help teams thrive. Because, it's not just about realizing that you or your colleagues have the ability to focus, it's about taking that raw talent and intentionally developing it into a consistent, reliable strength that basically elevates everyone around you.
All right, Section 1, defining the focus theme, clarity and direction. Let's establish exactly what it means to possess this trait.
So how do we actually define this? Well, people with the focus theme are highly goal-oriented. They are fundamentally driven by clarity, by direction, and by achievement. Think of it like an internal compass, or maybe a magnifying glass that helps them zoom right in on what matters most and just brutally eliminate distractions. They don't just want to be busy, right? They want to be moving toward a specific, tangible destination. Literally, every decision, every meeting, every single email is subconsciously filtered through one simple question. Does this action get me closer to my objective? And if the answer is no, it's discarded, just like that. And this relentless filtering leads to a state we're all pretty familiar with, being in the zone. I mean, we've all experienced fleeting glimpses of this, haven't we? That rare magical hour where time just seems to disappear and the noise of the outside world completely vanishes. But here's the kicker. For someone with the focus theme, this isn't just a lucky caffeine-induced moment. It's their default operating system. They just naturally narrow their attention toward what matters most and seamlessly tune out the rest of the noise. Moving right along to Section 2, the superpower of focus and its key contributions. Let's explore why this is an absolute superpower in the workplace.
Look, when a project gets totally chaotic, this is exactly the person you want in the room. They act as the directional force on a team, bringing just incredible value through clear prioritization, really strong perseverance, the ability to stay deeply concentrated, and highly efficient decision-making. Basically, they act as an anchor, helping the whole team remain aligned and right on track when distractions inevitably pop up. They are the engine of momentum.
But what happens when that compass gets stuck? That's the crucial question we have to ask ourselves next. What actually occurs when this intense concentration goes into overdrive? Because every great strength has a shadow side, and focus is absolutely no exception. Which brings us to Section 3, navigating the blind spots and managing struggles. Let's dig into the friction that comes with this theme.
It is so fascinating to see the yin and yang of this trait. On the balcony side, you've got this precise, intentional productivity, laser-like concentration, persistent follow-through, quickly identifying priorities. But man, look how quickly that can flip into the struggles when it's overused. When unmanaged, that exact same psychological wiring causes individuals to become overly intense. They might appear emotionally distant to their peers and get deeply frustrated by even minor distractions. It's a really fine line between being delightfully driven and destructively rigid.
So let's break down those struggles into some specific blind spots. Because they naturally concentrate so deeply, becoming totally absorbed in their work, they might unintentionally completely miss changes in priorities. Imagine a company suddenly pivots its strategy. The highly focused individual might completely miss the memo because they're just too dialed into their original task. Plus, they really struggle with interruptions, and this can actually make them appear emotionally distant. To a colleague just dropping by their desk to say a quick hello, the focus thinker might seem cold or unavailable, inadvertently over-prioritizing their productivity right over human relationships.
All right, Section 4, creating the right environment and setting up for success. Let's look at how managers and peers can actually resolve this tension.
Here's the truth. You simply cannot force a highly focused person to thrive in a chaotic, unstructured ecosystem. If you work with someone with this theme, they absolutely need clear goals and priorities. They need the freedom to work independently, opportunities to actually measure their progress, and structured direction and targets. Most importantly, they need time and space without interruptions. Ambiguity is quite literally their biggest drain. So if you manage someone with strong focus, giving them clear targets, and then giving them the physical time and space, without constant pings or check-ins, is for sure the most effective way to unlock their potential.
And now for our final section, number 5, theme contrasts. Seeing focus in action. Because sometimes seeing what a trait is not is the very best way to understand what it actually is.
Let's look at a head-to-head comparison. Focus says, I have a goal, versus futuristic, which says, I have a dream. While a futuristic thinker is motivated by a broad vision, a focused thinker is entirely driven by practical direction and achieving a specific, concrete goal. A futuristic thinker loves to brainstorm what the world might look like in 10 years, right? They paint a picture of possibilities. The focused thinker, on the other hand, wants to know exactly what the finish line looks like today and exactly what concrete reality they're building right now.
Here's another really fascinating comparison. Focus versus discipline. Focus says, I have a goal I plan to reach, whereas discipline says, I have a plan to reach my goal. See, while a highly disciplined person is obsessed with the structured steps and the plan itself, focus is locked on to the final outcome. A person with high discipline finds comfort in the routine. They love knowing that step A leads to step B. But a person with high focus, if the plan suddenly stops working, or hey, if a shortcut presents itself, they will abandon those structured steps in a heartbeat, as long as it gets them to their destination faster. For them, the goal is sacred. The plan is just a vehicle.
So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with a question. Are you driving your goals, or are your goals driving you? Whether you have this theme yourself or you manage someone who does, ask yourself how you're balancing that incredible momentum with the flexibility you need to maintain your relationships. This trait is an absolute engine for achievement. But remember, true success in any workplace requires not just hitting the target, but bringing your team along with you. Harness the power of that internal compass, but make sure you remember to look up from it every once in a while.